The best way to understand any e-commerce business is to start with unit economics. Unit economics is a simpler presentation of their profit loss statement like P&L, and by understanding unit economics you can understand everything about the business. You might have heard in Shark Tank or in other like investors also ask this question, and this will help you to understand your current cost structures, the strategy to improve them, and also about like how your business will look once it's scaled. So in this video, we'll discuss what the unit economics looks like, how to calculate unit economics for e-commerce, what's the best unit economics in the world. Like there might be some your numbers, but what the best in the world looks like, and how to analyze unit economics and define a strategy. So there are many videos with the financial point of view. Because I have worked with like 50 plus brands to help them with their profitability and this thing. So I am approaching it from marketing and strategy perspective. It's not from a financial background. It's mostly from a being a co-founder of a e-commerce business or like running an e-commerce agency for last 4 years. So it's coming from that space, and how to run projections and improve upon one. So I worked with like 50 plus brands, have generated like millions from e-commerce businesses, helped like multiple business to become profitable. So I'm approaching, this is the framework which we use to calculate unit economics, to how to analyze and how to improve upon that. So let's start from the beginning. So what's the unit economics? So unit economics is a simple economic breakdown of a unit sold. So if you're sold only one unit in your business, so what the metrics will look like, how much will be the cost of acquired goods sold, how much will be like fulfillment cost, how will be like marketing cost, and how will be like fulfillment or like fixed cost. So everything on a single unit. It's easier, it's simpler, and the idea is that if you can crack your unit economics, then even if you sold like 100 million or like a million of units, then this will stand. So this should last for a long time. That's rarely the case, but still you can create scenarios that at each scale, like at 100k, then 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, how the business will perform. And there are multiple case studies also to help you understand that what's at that scale, how the unit economics looks like. And this way you can predict safely about the scale of the business and the profitability of the business going in the future, like in the future how the business will perform. So coming to this, so this will help you with the current cost revenue structure, how we can optimize current revenue, and how the things will look at scale. So how to calculate unit economics. So first start with the unit economics. Like it's a unit economics, but if you have balance sheet, then it's like a simpler representation of your balance sheet. So just grab your balance sheet, simplify headers, like club everything into 4-5 headers. I will discuss what the headers will look like, and then just like either represent it on 100 like a percentage system, or you can just divide everything by the net revenue and you will get this thing this. So it should look something like this, like what's the net revenue, what's the COGS, what's the fulfillment, payment gateway, marketing cost, then it's a CM like contribution margin, we'll come to that, and operating and net income or net profits. So this is basically a single headers, like simple headers, nothing complicated. So let's jump into like how we calculate unit economics. So this is a sheet which is mostly like a P&L for a business. So I not going deep into this because every business structure their P&L differently. There are multiple this thing, but typically one is like unit sold. So like what's your unit sold? So that's not relevant for unit economics. That's like just a multiplier. But what we want to see is the gross revenue. So it's a dummy brand. So we taken like a gross revenue. Then everything, if you have to like deduct or like discounts, returns and this thing, you can take it into net revenue. So net revenue, we typically start with net revenue. So everything above 100 is like 110, 105. So we keep like discount, returns or shipping above that total net revenue. And then we look at like COGS. COGS is basically, it might be your freight cost, it might be duties, it might be import duty, it might be like storage charges and this thing like, so there are multiple container fees and this thing. So I'm not going into details, every business is different, but basically to get the product to your warehouse or to the customer, how much does it cost on the product level. Then there is a fulfillment. Fulfillment will be the packaging, the labor cost, or a fulfillment cost, or 3PL provider, last mile courier provider, everything related to that. Even the warehousing cost and this thing will also come over here, but it's basically everything related to the fulfillment of the order, like picking from the warehouse and delivering it. So warehouse will be more on the COGS level, and this will be more on the unit level in the terms of packaging, pricing, 3PL, shipping, merchant fees, anything like that. And then there is always courier fees, that payment gateway charges. So those are financial header. We keep some brands put it into fulfillment. Now there is a new term which is called a cost to delivery. Cost to delivery is a COD, which includes your COGS plus shipping plus payment gateway charges. So everything to deliver a product to the customer, everything which is the total cost of that, it's this thing. So idea is to simplify the headers. We typically go for a fulfillment cost, marketing cost, and COGS. And fulfillment, typically sometimes I break it up into fulfillment, into payment gateway, and fulfillment differently. So that depends from brand to brand, but it needs to be simplified. It needs to be very simple, 4-5 headers. Then we come down to a marketing cost. So marketing cost will include everything, your agency cost, your tools cost, so marketing is not what you just pay for to Facebook. It also includes your advertising, influencers, influencer types or anything like that, or even branding cost, logo building, everything around that. So that's will be as part of a marketing cost or marketing overhead. And a one-time branding, you can distribute it for 12 months or something. It's totally how you want to structure. But at the unit level, what's the it will be part of P&L. So we typically take it on the P&L and then break it up, so we get that branding cost and everything into that our P&L structure. And then we calculate a percentage of marketing, not percentage, percentage needs to be for everything, but it starts from there. So once we have, then we have contribution margin, and then there is a fixed cost. So fixed cost will include your rentals, your salaries, your any software cost, if you are using any software like ClickUp or Notion. So those costs will also be part of that fixed cost. So how we structure it is we divide it on the total revenue. So if we are taking total net, so we will divide everything on total net at 166k, and then everything will start from there. So at 166k we'll start dividing, and we'll start getting the one over here. Anything above is this 1.1, and this sometimes brands do return on the net gross revenue. It's not a part of a net revenue, so the percentage might be from the gross, and you need to divide the gross over there, and a total net revenue. And then you have once you get at 1, then you start with the COGS. Once you start with the COGS percentage, percentage COGS is over here is 27, 28, 29. Then you get a gross margin, which is your net gross margin from the products sold. So if you sold something for 100, then out of 70 is left for you to that will be the gross margin. Then for fulfillment in offline, this would have been your profits, or just you have to take out contribution. But in e-commerce, we have fulfillment and marketing as a big component. So there is a 8% this 0.2, 0.3. So this is 30% of that gross margin. You are a net revenue, it's 20%, 30%. So 30% is quite high, it's not typically the case. And then there is a 40-50% of the marketing cost of the net gross which is there, and then you get to your profit margin. So the idea is to just divide everything from net revenue and then put it on a single, you can put it on 1 also, 100 also, or a divided percentage. Typically we do it on 100, so it's easier to say and to discuss and calculate. So and also you need to be careful about the rounding of the figures. We'll do another video on contribution margin, but it's basically everything except your fixed cost. So basically so the idea is of the contribution margin is that you run your business to cover your fixed cost, that's in the simpler terms is you you sell products to cover your fixed cost and then make a profit. So every order what is contributing to your profit, or what every order is contributing to your overall bottom line, that's called contribution margin. And we need to calculate that over here, like in the terms of like what's left, how much each order is contributing to your fixed cost. So if you sell single unit, you will get like 17 cents to your fixed cost, and then if you sell like thousands of them, so then it will like just multiply, but then you can cover your fixed cost. Now coming to some samples. So this is like a D2C brand. So D2C, that's why I was saying like fulfillment was quite high over there, because fulfillment and payment gateway is typically like 2 or 3 in that sense, and fulfillment is like 5, 6, 7, something like that. And then it's just like so out of 100 you get like 30 for COGS, 30 for T, that's typically for your own manufacturing, and then you like spend something like 5 to 10 on the fulfillment, and 3PL charges of the over, and that's also depends on the ticket size. If you're selling like $30 product, then it might be different, it might be higher. But if you are selling like $100 product, then it might be like within that 10% or less than 10%, I would say like $5 to $6 for a $100 product. So that's typically the range. Then you get your marketing cost like $25 acquisition or $30 acquisition. That also depends on the ticket size, but it will reflect over here over on the 100. And then it's like what's your left out of like contribution margin, and then how much is your operating expenses, and then what's your net income or profit. And then we compare it from year to year and how it's progressing, and we'll come to that, like how to analyze this. And then next one is like for marketplace. So for marketplace, it's also starts from net revenue. Net revenue is this, like then the COGS. So in marketplace, COGS tends to be really high, like if you're selling mobile phones or like electronic equipment or like any branded stuff, even Nike and like apparel also, you might get like 30-40% margins. So COGS will be like 60 or 70% of the total cost. And then you get like your fulfillment. In this, the ticket size was high, so fulfillment is very low. There is like a minimum for payment gateway sort of, because of the Visa and MasterCard, like 1.8 to 2% is like bare minimum. And then with EMI services and buy now pay later, it comes down to like that number. And then it's like marketing cost, and then there is a contribution, and operating expenses is your salaries and everything, fixed cost, and then you have your this. So this is a marketplace which is like in red, and then you see that how it's performing or like progressing and this thing. So that's pretty much about like how you calculate your unit economics. So that's pretty much it. So eventually you need to come down to something like this. It can be done on the monthly level, it can be done on the quarterly level, it can be done on the yearly level. So we typically do it on quarter level, and and then compare it with the yearly, or like summarize it on the yearly on the previous years. So next is, what's the best unit economics in the world? So there is a study which was a really good study done by like Wayflyer and Iris. They analyzed like 700 e-commerce businesses. So this was basically which I wanted to show, like best in class P&L. So best in class P&L is they have divided across the industries, but it's typically like 69% is gross. Like gross is still less, because you like GOES and like even electronics is like high, but like there are some categories which eventually like cost of goods sold is quite high. Like beauty and health is definitely have highest margins, and then like electronics or like sporting goods, or like even your consumable good, or like snack bars or like drinks or this thing, so they have the lowest margin sort of, and then everything is there in the middle. So every strategy depends from brand to brand how they're structuring. We'll come to the strategy, but like supposedly for foods and beverage brand, so how will they make money in this scenario if they're like they only get like 45%? So then they have to keep their marketing cost within 10%, because like consumable good, it's a high repeat business. So then the 10% of your cost becomes really helpful. So you get the 10%, and then you can make profit in that. In cosmetic or health, you have to spend like 30% of your business cost, of your margins to, or your net revenue to for generating the demand. But for health and beverages or the food and beverages, it's just like 10%, because there is like a higher component of return or repeat purchase. So that's how the strategy start coming into the picture, that once you start looking at it, you know that this is our leg room, how much we can play over here. OPEX also plays a major role, because for any e-commerce business is like fixed cost is around 20%. So you need to be very aware that how much is you are spending. So for animal and pet is low, in food and beverage is low, like in electronics is quite high, in like so it depends from business to business, how the business is structured, how many teams, how many founders, how's the cost structure, salaries and all. But there is a one lever is this. So if you look at like your margin is a lever, then your revenue marketing cost is a lever, then your OPEX is a lever. So there are three levers in this by looking at, but this is basically that what the good ones look like this was the whole point, was to show this is the aim, or this is the goal, or this is the North Star. If your business is above this mark, then nothing like it, you are already killing it. But for most of the businesses, the goal is this. So marketplaces have a different unit economics because their COGS is like 70 or 80%. So then you have to spend less on the other economics. So once you have this, your unit economics, so how you analyze your unit economics and refine a strategy. So the idea is that you start going through the headers. So you start looking at each header. So what is TAM? So TAM is like outside the sheet, but still we analyze this because this is really important, that how much potential is there to increase the revenue. You can always say that I will increase 10x my revenue, but is there market for that? So increasing market means in the terms of strategy, going international, or like launching in different regions, or you launch a different category. So you address, increase your total addressable. So there is a room to grow for the business. If you feel that TAM is low, then you align accordingly. But the idea is that it should be a part of the strategy, that how the TAM is, how much TAM is there, or how much potential is there. Then it comes down to like revenue. So what you can do to increase revenue. So one is like revenue, but also because we are looking at from a COGS perspective. So the idea is how much you can increase without increasing your COGS. So it's like a price increase or AOV. So AOV will have a low this thing, but it will increase your average order value, or lower your marketing percentage. So every metric relate to something else. So if you increase your percentage will go down because you have to give a discount for a bundle or something, but eventually your percentage of marketing cost will go low as well, because so if you are selling at something at 100 and you are getting like a 70% COGS, so if you sell it for 200 and you bundle everything up, so maybe you might not be able to get 70%. You might have to give it for a 60% kind of a thing, but your marketing cost will remain the same. So in the terms of percentage, earlier if it was like 30%, now it's a 15% of $200. So the marketing cost remains the same, but you increase your AOV. So your COGS percentage also went down by 10%, but your marketing cost went down by 15%, or become half or something. So that's where the increasing AOV will have a impact on the COGS, but that will also have an impact on the marketing cost. So this is basically how we have structured it. And once we look at the revenue, then we look at the COGS. So COGS is how you reduce the COGS. So one is it's mostly with the suppliers. If you can get in different region, if you can change the products or composition of the products, like in supplements or in health, or you can source it from somewhere else. So these are the things, or you can negotiate a better deal with your suppliers. So this is there, but also with the metrics, how much potential is there. Eventually you don't want to compromise on the quality and this thing. So I will not say, and how much win is there in that sense. So we have seen COGS, if you renegotiate or on the volume, so there is a win, but it's not a big win. It can be a substantial win if you reduce your COGS from $6 to $5. So there is a 20% on the COGS. But overall, if you were selling out for 100, a $50 on a $6 product, then $5 it's 2% of your $50 this thing. 2% is fine, but I'm saying that you need to understand the potential as well. If you lower it down further, then will the quality suffer, or a review suffer, or retention suffer, or those things. So basically there is a limit to everything in the terms of how much you can squeeze more from the costs. But it's always good to revise this and come back to this after every 6 months, so you can refine and keep on changing this. Next is like payment gateway. So payment gateway is like more options. If you can change the partner, change this thing like Amazon Pay, try this. And what's the upper limit? Like in this case also the upper limit is quite low in that sense. Even if you renegotiate, eventually it will be like 2 point something or like 1.8 max, which we have seen. But people will still want to pay with PayPal or like Amazon Pay or like their personal preference. So then it varies from this how much potential is there eventually. And then next is like your fulfillment 3PL providers. So there is basically like a trade-off between quality and like how much fast they are versus how much this, but there is always like a room to improve that as well. Next is your marketing cost. So how much you can reduce on the marketing. There is a lot of improvement which can be done in the terms of like reducing spend on acquiring new customer, or you get more from your existing, so your overall percentage will come down. So that's where the retention comes into picture, or this thing, or you find more organic or cheaper way to like acquire users. So you go for more organic like SEO or like organic social or those channels, or affiliate channel even instead of paid marketing, and you try to get like a cheaper acquisition. So that's also plays a role in your reducing your marketing cost and then your revenue from existing customer. Next is like a operating cost or a fixed from variable or like team alignment or something like that. So that can also be done on the operation cost, that going from like a remote instead of a fixed cost, or like a fixed team versus a variable team. So you can scale, like hire more during Black Friday, but stay lean during the summer months, or like it depends from the business, but that gives you more lever and more this thing. But once you start looking at from that perspective, so even if there is a decision to hire someone, or you want to bring someone very senior in the position, so how much legroom you have in that sense, or how much you have to compromise of your profits. So if you look at if you have to hire a very senior VP level person for your business, and your business is not generating like more than 7-figure like a top line net revenue, so in that sense the profit even with 20% is like 200k. So 200k if you are in a year, that's a profit. And if you want to bring someone at a VP level at 150k salary, so now you have to see that how much the trade-off will be there, like if you can afford him, or you have to let go, or will that person coming in will increase your revenue to like 2 million or 5 million, so you can offset that cost. But that's is always helpful to see this business and like see how it's coming from a P&L perspective. Common recommendation, I kept it there because mostly it comes down to this, that you increase your retention, you increase your average order value, you reduce your COGS, or like increase your gross margin through price increases, you increase by COGS, or you reduce blended, better marketing in the terms of like free and costly, like a free of cost, or like a very low cheap traffic, and then you decrease the marketing spend as total part of the revenue. So these are the mostly activities, but it depends from business to business how much optimized, what's the room. So we have seen opportunity in the TAM also, we have seen opportunity in the COGS also. For some brands we have seen opportunity in the payment gateway. It's rare, but still there is opportunity for 0.5 kind of a profit improvement. And then there is a 3PL we have seen like massive, because some have offshore providers versus like on-site providers, or like they have like 3 small providers across US, or they have like a single provider outside US. So it depends from multiple factors, or like using Amazon for completely Amazon fulfillment as a completely how that cost will look like. And so everything comes down to like how much legroom you have and how much you can play with that number. So next is like marketing cost is definitely there is multiple strategies, but these are the 3 main bucket, low paid, or like organic, or more from existing. These are the 3. Then you can go deep into each of them, like how you get more bang for the buck, or you get more organic or this thing, or you get a high percentage of repeat, with loyalty or email or this thing. So, and last is your operation, which is we have discussed. So this is basically, that's how you improve on your a recommendation, or these are the common recommendations which we typically work with. Now last point is that once you have the recommendations also, you have a plan also, you have your unit economics also, but how will it impact, or how much difference will it make? So then it becomes a game of you need to run scenario and do projection. So this was a current unit economics of a brand. So we had a look at this. Then the idea was that how we are using to play with the projections, like how we are able to project the scenario. So in that scenario, what we have done is we have taken an assumption that this is the strategy. We will pull this lever, we will reduce the COGS, and we will keep the marketing same, we will team the OPEX same, everything will remain the same. We will just try to lower the COGS and how the like metrics will. So instead of this COGS at 56, we reduce it to 50, and then we saw the rest of the metrics remain the same. Like we just say that if we do better negotiation with our suppliers, so how much it will impact the overall part. Next is like your passing shipping. So you increase your free shipping and then you lower your OPEX. So these will be the two metrics will get impacted, and then how will they impact your overall business numbers. Or you say that your marketing is very, like we will increase the marketing but will lower the OPEX percentage, because fixed cost is a percentage of the overall. So if you have like 5 people team, so you will keep on eventually the team will not increase as per the revenue, but it's also at different scales, like different team structure works. But still, in this scenario, the idea was that we lower the OPEX from a percentage perspective, we keep the team same, but we increase on marketing to earn the revenue, and then the marketing cost will go up and will reduce some part of your this thing. Will we still make profit? Like a minor one, it's like a risky zone. I would say like anything less than 5% is like a dead zone. And next is like high marketing or to push this thing. Now in this also we look at like high marketing or this, and there was a private label, so we recommended like pushing more on the private label side. Then also it was more about that the strategy, and then we finalized one strategy which was like we have to pull like 2-3 levers, and then the idea was to like run your numbers, and if you feel comfortable or confident, then this part becomes the goal. Like still nothing has been done in the business, there's no guarantee of improvement, but still you have a north star that I have to do this, I have to bring this down, I have to increase this, I have to change this, change that. And that's the purpose of unit economics, that unit economics help you come up with a single strategy for the company, for the whole brand across multiple levers, and you can go and execute it. If you find value in this, please subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions regarding the unit economics or anything, you can reach out to me on the email address, or you can leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.